Any Abrahamic stronghold upon the face of the earth now used to be a pagan one. We still have Hinduism, Buddhism, Sikhism, Shintoism, and the like around in this era of demonic modernity, but for all intents and purposes, the Dharmic world is long dead. Only Flotsam and Jetsam now remain of it. But all of them at one point or another had their origins in Sanatana Dharma, and by the Dharmic religions were spoken of in the popular mind are not just what we call Hinduism. That's a modern and concocted term, but also Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, and even in some cases, depending on who you ask, Zoroastrianism. Those are the overt ones, but you can also include the pagan faiths of pre-Christian Europe. Every single one of them are offshoots. This globally unifying worldview called natural law, Dharma in Sanskrit, Asha in Avestan, bound mankind together at one point in the ancient world until several offshoots emerged from it, with the first one emerging from Iran Shah, the one you folks are curious about the most, the offshoot of Zoroastrianism. Thousands of years ago, we Iranics were a purely Vedic people. We followed the Vedas, the cornerstone of Aryan philosophy. We followed Sanatana Dharma purely, and then there was this venerable spiritual guru of our extraction who came into the picture. Zarathustra was his name. In Persian, we call him Zarathusht, but the more westernized version of his name is Zoroaster, and he's the one who used his knowledge of Vedic spirituality as a literal priest of it to create the first official offshoot of Dharma that separated us off from the rest of the Aryan world, and then the way Zoroastrianism over the last several thousand years developed kept many of its original Vedic elements intact, but it is effectively its own religion now, just like Buddhism is. What are these Vedic elements? Let's start with the most obvious one. What are Zoroastrians commonly derided as? Fire worshippers? You want to know who else worships fire in a religious context as a form of divine symbolism? So-called Hindus. Google the concept of yajna, which is literally derived from the Avestan term yasna. Yajna denotes a ritual done in front of a sacred fire, often with mantras, which is precisely what our forebears did in the fire temples. Look at their robes. The robes worn are identical to that of contemporary Hindus. Listen to their mantras and how they're structured. Look at the threefold path of Asha, good thoughts, good words, and good deeds. Those are just some examples, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. And he's not the only one who founded an offshoot.